Hotel link, you have a prepaid call from.
Free, about 8 o'clock on the 3rd.
An inmate at the Salinas Valley State Prison, Soledad, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello?
Hey, Free, I do have a quick announcement. Ken Massat got me a couple of documents recently, and I did upload both of those to your web...
Wait a minute. Wait, you faded out. I couldn't even hear what you said. Try to maybe come close to the phone or something.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me better?
A little bit, but not as good as usual.
Okay. Well, I'll yell. Ken got me a couple of documents. One of them is a case history update, and the other one is witness info related to Free Lazor. And I converted them into a PDF format and put them on the bottom of your webpage.
Okay. So the one from Ken, how long is it? Because I'm trying to get an idea which one it is, because I've got a lot of stuff going to him too.
Okay, the one that's titled Info on Witnesses to Lazor's Case per Lazor, that one is 4 pages long, and it talks about witness number 1, about Joan was, that kind of thing, and then it also talks about maybe wanting to reach out and get a hold of these people.
Yeah, okay, so that's okay. Joan Harper, that's all about Joan Harper, except I do mention kind of a very slight pass I mentioned maybe near the end about Harriet Shule, and I think that's the only other person. Joan Harper has 2 different names because their name was Joan Beingessner before the trial when the shooting first happened. So yeah, okay, so now I know what that is.
Also, you go.
Or is that something that
you go into adjusted memories. You know how they planted memories over an 8-month period. I thought that was very fascinating. How they can change, the testimony of a witness like that. Yeah, that's very fascinating.
Yeah, well, I knew what they did at the time it happened, of course, because I heard the tapes before I gave it back to Wes Schroeder. Unfortunately, I didn't make copies. So I don't know if they've destroyed them now or not. Sometimes we get surprised and they keep evidence that that proves that they did fraudulent things. In a lot of different cases, we see that. So I'm hoping maybe those tapes still exist where anybody can listen to them and see how they bend their testimony over time. Yeah, that's all about Joan. And I'm sure they did it with other witnesses, except most of the other witnesses that were the friends of all Reds, they would just outright lie against me. Didn't require bending testimony. But with Joan, I think she was an honest person, a good person. And I think Harriet probably was too. But they were so prejudiced by really horrible newspaper articles, or at least one major article in the San Jose Mercury News that came out the morning after the shooting, that just took whatever the police said. They just made up all this stuff. They hadn't even investigated the case.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And did quite a large and prominent article on it because I was somewhat famous as Buddy Holly Jr., and so that made it a sensational case at that point. But then everything hushed up real quiet after that. And I'm sure, in light of the fact that I was a celebrity at the time, I'm sure that the reason it was hushed up because they found out that the whole case was in my favor, and there was no legs to stand on to keep parroting those lies that the police originally gave them the first day of when the event happened. So anyway, is that document in my handwriting? Or did Ken retype it or rework process?
He retyped it. It's all typed as if it was done on a computer.
Oh, perfect. He should send me a copy, but I haven't received anything from him. So if you're going to be sending me anything in the mail anyway, or if it's not a great inconvenience for you, if you could send me a copy of that, because sometimes he gets busy and forgets or whatever, and he's up there in his 70s, so sometimes I think he confuses things a little bit as to what he was going to do with one thing or another. So anyway, if you could do that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
And I sent such an abundance of things to him and you, and used to be Gail. I think you two are really the primary people now. I send an abundance of so much stuff that it's not surprising at all that anybody would get things confused and, forget exactly what to do. So, yeah, if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. I wanted to mention to you, because I forgot over the last couple times I called, that I did receive from you something in the mail about an Alabama officer shot and killed, sovereign citizen, video released, and so on. Very good article, very sad, very tragic, unfortunate, and, of course, we see these things happening all the time in the news. It also had a picture and kind of thick print, one-pager about Jack McGlam. It's always good to see Jack's picture again. What a great guy, huh?
Yeah, no doubt.
So anyway, I just want to let you know I got that. My sentiments are just, it just made me weep to see what they did to that guy just for trying to return a stray dog to a pound. I mean, that's ridiculous. But it's the world we're living in right now. I'm glad at least somebody got the information out there that they're doing that kind of thing. I wanted to go into a few other things. I'm trying to use these calls as much as I can to specify a certain subject and then deal with that subject as fully as I'm going to treat it so that we can move on then to a different subject after that's done. The subject I wanted to deal with right now, I think I've mentioned passing before, but I'm pretty sure I never expounded on it. So let me expound on it right now, and it's about the jury not finding me guilty of gun use enhancement. And here's how it went. The jury verdict form, which is the way they decide whether you're guilty or innocent, of course, is to check boxes on the verdict form, yes or no, or true or not true, that sort of thing. Well, on the first-degree murder form, they found me not guilty, and they wrote that right in the form, not guilty of first-degree murder. That's the highest degree. That's when you premeditate and plan a murder. So they acquitted me of that. Then the next, that was rushing for the first night of deliberation to be over. They only had I think it was 3 hours that night. The next morning, as you may recall, I told you a short time ago, they had the Labor Day vacations that some of those jurors had to be on the road to go to that very day, September 1st. So on that day, they rushed to judgment within 2 hours and found me guilty of second-degree murder. However, on the first-degree murder form, there's a box that says if they find the gun enhancement, another 2 years on my sentence for gun use, and obviously I use a gun, and we all know that, they're to write in true or not true. So they wrote in true on that form. However, they then decided, wait a minute, we're going to completely X out this form and not even use it because we're acquitting him of first-degree murder. So that whole form, everything on it became nullified then. The court agrees with that much. When they got to the second-degree murder form, they found me guilty of second-degree murder, and they wrote in the word guilty or check the box, whichever it was. But then they did not write true, where it said, if you believe that he is to be found guilty of the gun enhancement, write true in this line, and they did not do that. They left it blank. So what the judge should have done is ask them in open court before pronouncing the whole thing, did you mean to check this box or not? But he didn't do that. And it's suspicious to me that he didn't do that. Maybe they had some reason for thinking, well, they didn't feel that there should be the extra gun enhancement. Who knows what the reason is? So the judge in open court said to the court clerk, whose name was Corrine Rose, he turned to her and he said, Corrine, write the word true in that line and initial it with your initials, CR. Right in front of me, in front of everybody, she wrote the word true, and she initialed it CR next to it, and her initials are also at the top of the form, CR up on top, same initials. So nobody can dispute that she wrote in the word true, and the judge, but now I didn't find out till years later that the judge had the transcriber either turn off the transcription machine or they just didn't put it in the final transcripts, which is, fraud, that they doctor the transcripts like that. So the final transcript does not have that transaction, but the verdict form shows that her initials are there next to the word true, and she wrote it in. So the jury did not find me guilty. Now, here's the significance. Not only would I have come up for parole, let me give a couple of significances. One is I would have come up for parole 2 years earlier. During that 2-year period, The parole board changed from releasing people to adopting a policy of no paroles for people with so-called lifetime sentences, which they claim I have. We've talked about that before. They still claim I have, but whether that's right or wrong, that was their claim at the time. And so if I'd have not had that gun enhancement, I'd have gone to the parole board 2 years early and been released, because they were releasing everybody with no criminal history like me. So I lost out on my parole because of that forged verdict form. There's another reason, another significance is that I read the penal code carefully surrounding the whole thing about probation, and the judge had the option, not necessarily that he would have because he was corrupt, but still, as a matter of law, he had the option to grant me probation and not sentence me to prison at all if he wanted to. That was his discretion if there was no gun use enhancement found true by a jury. I remember distinctly, and it's in the transcripts, when I had finally got Schroeder out of the way, got him out of the picture for the most part, found out that he was burning me, went to sentencing, and there I had a support team of about 15 people maybe. Of those people, a number of them spoke, and most of them asked the judge, please give this guy leniency. He's not a criminal. There's some mistake here. And the judge responded to them repeatedly, I do not have the authority to do anything but send him to prison for this particular statutory prison time. But that would not have been true had they not falsified that verdict form. He could have sentenced me to probation. So those are two major things of significance. I'd have been home decades ago on either one, or the one I would have never come to prison. So I find that remarkable. That forged verdict form, which is exactly what it is the forged verdict form, still sits in the official file today. I have copies of it right here in the cell that I got not too long ago.
As you're talking, I'm looking up Joan. I don't know how to pronounce that. Being Gessner Harper, and I see all kinds of hits in.
It's pronounced Bind. It's pronounced Bind Gessner. But now you would want to go with Harper because she married and her name actually, she quit using the name Beingessner way back when.
Okay, it's just that Harper is so...
In my trial?
Yep.
Excuse me?
Well,
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I said Harper is such a common name, and Beingessner is such a unique name. I'm trying to find maybe some documents where she used her old name, but I do find a Joan Beingessner in California. It's just you have to pay money to get all the details. That's the challenge with research, is they always want to charge you for the extra information.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, and of course we don't want to do that because I've got so many dozens of things. If it was just one thing, we might do that, but I've got so many dozens of things, nobody out there or me can afford to do that, and maybe just...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
To my amazement, there are so many people that have what I thought was a unique name that's not unique at all, because I had seen to do some searches for some friends I was looking for, old friends with very odd, unique names, and they're not unique. There are like 20 people with this oddball first and last name going together.
Well, hey, just while you're
surprised if it's a different one, but
Free. While you were talking, I found a Joan Harper. One of them is in La Palma, California, and she's previously lived in St. Torrance, California, and she has associates of Beingessner, Daniel Beingessner, Albert Beingessner, Sheila Beingessner. So I've got a couple of addresses here for a Joan Harper, and that it's very likely her. So maybe I can mail her a letter. It doesn't give a phone number or anything.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. If you're willing to do that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
I just want her to know what happened, and I want her to know I'm still in prison. And I think her response will be utter shock, even though she probably thought I was guilty if she, just because of the conviction and probably because of the DA and the police.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
All kind of terrible things about how I was such a horrid criminal and did such a horrid murder on this guy. And so they definitely prejudice her against me. So she probably still thinks all that about me. But I still think she would be shocked to find that I'm still in prison after being acquitted by a jury of first-degree murder.
I'll put a letter. I'll put a letter in the mail tomorrow to her address.
And first of all, ask if she is.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
who was involved in that trial, because it might be a different one. But I would think that it's very likely her with that name.
Yeah.
Okay. There were other things I was going to do, but we've run out of time. I will probably try to call you back in another day or two.
Okay. God bless you, Free. You're in our prayers.
And you as well, and Aaron as well. Thank you so much for everything. You take care.
Okay. Bye-bye. God bless.